Good morning, everyone. I'm excited today to have Dr. Zach Burkett with me. For the church family, you know how important it is for us to be in unity with each other, the Lord, and then within ourselves. And so for me, my journey of mind, body, and spirit has been a beautiful journey in the last 3 to 4 years for me. And I'm excited to hear what the revelations that God has for you in any one of those mind, body, and spirit, wherever He decides to start us off today. And with my journey, I shared with you on the porch. We were just talking, and that was pretty exciting to hear all of your journey. And you added a lot. Obviously, you're the one I'm looking to with the information that I'm think would help us today. You've been studying this for years.
Yeah.
I remember, how long ago was it that we met? Maybe 10 years ago.
Easily 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what Dr. Zach did for me was when I was going through this process of really not knowing how to get healthy. I don't even know how I met you.
I think Pastor Scott.
Was it?
I
Okay.
think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he asked me
Hmm.
to come if I wanted to come to the gym.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then I ran the me, and then you and I connected, and you offered for my son and I to be part of a training program. And in that part of my life, financially, I was like, I really can't. He's like, "Do you just come on? I want to bless you." And you blessed me and my son, and I never forgot that.
Thank you. You haven't.
I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great, and you were able to show us how to get a little bit more healthy, and then we are starting to work out. I started to break off some of the stuff that needed to be broken off of me, and then some years went by, and we're back together again, and we both kind of are. What was wild is we both went on the same kind of journey, didn't even know it, and now we're converging again on the same path. And so I look forward to talking with you today, and for the church also to realize the importance of being in unity within ourselves, our mind, our body, and our spirit. And so we were sitting on the back porch earlier talking and just catching up. And so I would say, as a doctor, as a person who does this for a living, you help coach, you're a life coach in many ways, more than just physical, but I know that you also do mental and spiritual coaching as well. If I was to come into your life and I said, I'm messed up, my body's messed up, I can't think straight, help me out, Zach, where would I start?
Yeah. So thank you for the parallel to see you today, to see the goodness of God in your life and the success and the seeds that were planted and how you stayed faithful when you held on to what
Yes.
we did. And then what God did was He finished it. And it's beautiful to behold. So I'm really delighted. And that's really my heart's desire is not necessarily to build my own brand or my tribe, but to make a difference.
Right.
And so to be able to see that in somebody else
Absolutely.
and, and that you would, share your expertise with me today is like, it's reminiscent of the scripture where there's 10 lepers who are healed and one comes back and says, thank you. So thank you for your thank you. And that's our heart is we want to be made whole. So when I talk about mind, soul, body, spirit, the wholeness that comes from trust in God, that there's no area of my creation that's outside of His scope of love, and that religion may have left us a little short in some of those areas along the way. For some of us, it might be spiritually because there have been rules, or physically, there may have been some taboos, or emotionally. But with God, when we come to Him and receive the revelation that He has for us from a relationship with Him, through spending time with Him in His Word, our lives change. In my office, it's Dr. Fitness Healing Center, strengthening people from the inside out, faith, food, and fitness. So I have the ongoing privilege of having a certain amount of cachet with people in the community from being a doctor of chiropractic who's dedicated his practice to the Lord. And the Lord has given me this amazing message about healing. It's a healing center. And the centerpiece, the big left hook of that has been fasting. Years ago, I didn't understand that. I was a bodybuilder all through chiropractic school and small meals, and I was in a chronically fed state. Small meals that were chock full of mostly protein, but the right amount of carbohydrates, and I was building my body. But all of a sudden, by the grace of God, something happened. What used to work didn't work any longer. And it was about at 40 years old. I'm 57 now. So I've been on this journey with the Lord, but crying out, like, why don't I feel good at 40? What's going on? you know, have you abandoned me? And what's good about God is like when you come to an impasse and you cry out and you seek him wholeheartedly, he reveals something to you. And he gave me the understanding that there is a time and a place now. It's not if you fast it, it's when. That's what the scripture says. And 40 years old for me was the when. And all of a sudden I had to humble myself and go back to school. And I'm like, all right, Lord, show me. So I went to some seminars. I met some other Christian people. I met some other people who were not even Christians, but people who were privy to the knowledge and the science about the healing arts of what Jesus said. So there's a science behind what Jesus said. When you fast, don't be like the hypocrites. Keep it between you and God will reward what he sees you do in secret. And there are so many physiological benefits to the healing arts when we go into some food temporary intermittent fasting, meaning a temporary fast, a partial day fast, not even a whole day, which would be a block fast. And then teaching people that that is the way that we're going to get poison out of our body. We call it toxins, but let's just be blunt. It's poison.
Yeah.
There is poison in the standard American diet. And if we have a healthcare provider who starts learning how to do this, who lives it, who models it, and then teaches it, we can get other people to get poison out of their body, and then they can get their health back, their energy, their metabolism. They can get rid of inflammation and joint pain. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
I tell people when you come in, I said, it's Faith, Food, and Fitness here. You've probably been to the gym. You've probably tried diets, but you're here for a reason. So we're going to ask God to come into this. So we pray, we look at scriptures, we teach fasting, we do weigh-ins, and then we do these amazing workouts that are custom. You see, some doctors say, don't work out if it hurts, and other people like work out really hard. But what if we changed the workout so it was custom fit? It was bodybuilding and not body breaking. So what if we put all that together with the customer, with the patient in mind, and we created a care plan to help people go from illness to wellness? And that's what I love doing. And that's what God's given me. He's given me a place to be able to do that.
Wow.
And I love what I do. And I'm so grateful to him.
So good. So 3 things you said that triggered me. 2 primary ones would be, you said fed state, fasting, and then how God shows you the way to do it.
Mhm.
So I think each individual, like I'm sure you understand that as well, is unique in itself. When I started getting a holding of these revelations, even starting with you, I began to realize he would be able to tailor it in the dime I needed it when I needed it. So he would deal with my mind, or he would deal with my body, or he would deal with my spirit. So one size fit all wasn't going to work for me if I tried a program. But
Right.
God said, I'm not working in that area of your life. So that would be that spiritual side you were talking about. And so what I loved is when you said fed state. So you was always in this fed state feeling bad. Can you explain what that means?
Well, culture tells us if you don't feel good, eat something.
Right.
I've come from an Italian background. Everything was like centered around,
Right.
you got to eat something. And so,
Manja.
manja, you know, what's the matter? You know, like,
Yeah.
and you'll feel better. And what I realized was I don't feel better. And I can remember my grandma, she's Pentecostal, and grandma, like, she saw me like through chiropractic college. I'd come home and I'm bodybuilding and I'm
Anemic.
lean and I got ketone breath. And she's like, that's not of God. And like, so I'm this black sheep, I'm this freaking anomaly.
Right.
And I come out of this Italian family that's culturally centered around food. And I love to eat too, so much that bodybuilding kind of goes along with that because you get to eat a lot of meals.
Yeah.
And she didn't understand me until later when God started getting a hold of my spirit. I got rededicated. Then all of a sudden, before she died, she goes, Zachary is the one that's going to lead our family into the next generation.
Wow. Wow, that's touching.
So I went from worst to first, but we were a matriarch-led family. There were by default not a lot of godly men, but God started to take, just like the prostitute maybe in Proverbs 7 who anointed her bed with perfume. But one day she's at the feet of Jesus and she's putting her perfume on his feet and he doesn't send her away. See, God took what was vile in my life and used for personal and selfish and lustful things, and he reconstituted it and made it holy. And now it's benefiting other people. And for me, that's so gratifying that God would take me from what I enjoy doing, that I was born for weights. I was born to be an encourager and a doctor. But I had some ungodly modalities in my life that had to be dealt with. But when he takes your heart and turns it around, he takes what was a weakness and now makes it a strength. And he's doing that for all people who will come to him.
Right.
But in my personal journey, this is why it's so gratifying, because I'm relevant
Yes.
when I used to be irrelevant.
It's good.
And
Yeah. So when you're sitting there thinking about it, because as we were talking earlier, going back to that fed state, then you start to talk about fasting. So in my transition, when he would talk to me, and I'd ask the Lord, I'd say, talk to me about whatever you want, Lord. I want to do this in your timing and the way you want to do it. And he would reveal things to me. And the whole fed state for me was, it's like he said, do you know what gluttony really is? I was like, no. He's like, it's when you're always in the fed state. It's not about sitting down at one meal and stuffing yourself to death. It was always never, he never allowed his spirit to ever be subjected to his flesh in a way that the flesh would rule him. So he said, that's the first place you'll see me. He goes, I was technically an intermittent faster, if you want to use today's language.
yeah,
He was always ready. His spirit was always there, and he never allowed food to ever override the spirit. And that's what will show me that in the scriptures. And I think the other day I may have shared this on the phone when me and you were catching up, and it was the one particular one when the little boy's falling in the fire, and the father goes, I don't know what to do. This demon comes on him, and he falls in a fire and starts rolling around. And the disciples go, we've tried to cast this out, but Jesus goes, only some come out with fasting and prayer. So a lot of fasting in the church is actually, you hear that scripture a lot, only seeing things happen when we fast and pray. But the Lord said, what do you think if I wasn't ready? Do I tell the Father, hey, do I come back in 3 days after I fasted for 3 days, then I can help you? No, he was always ready. So he always allowed his body to never be in a constant fed state. Because can you help me out with a little bit on what happens to our body when we're constantly in the fed state?
well, if we're always in a fed state, which if you're in a phase in your life where you're trying to put on muscle, you want to do that, right? But that doesn't consider the spiritual side of your being, right?
Right.
So there was that season of life where bodybuilding, eat small meals all the time, and which was very culturally connected to being Italian. We're eating, it's like the problem is if your body develops what we would call a cesspool, a stress bucket that overflows, and now your toxic load is on, enough's enough. That's when autoimmune disease kicks in. That's when your epigenetic gene goes from health to disease. When your body's toxic load bucket is full. And so that load bucket can be filled by 3 garden hoses: physical stress, chemical stress from the standard American diet, and then emotional stress. And people don't realize that all of those feeders, the body recognizes stress indiscriminately. And so when you're treating a person and you're looking for healing, you've got to cover each of those areas. What are your ergonomics? What's your job-related stress? Are you exercising or not? Are you even healthy enough to exercise? Because some people already have autoimmune disease and they're sick, and you can't do that.
Right.
They need rest. What does your diet look like? Do you fast? Do you have a way? Like, think about when Paul was bit by the viper.
Yeah.
It didn't kill him, but we never wonder if his lifestyle of being not fed, by fasting, by being on a boat, being shipwrecked, his body already had a downward gradient of poison coming out of him because he was used to fasting. That was part of his lifestyle. So there was a way for poison to get out of him. God did a miracle. And a lot of times God partners the miracle by our obedience.
It's good.
Right?
Well said, yeah.
There was a way out because he was already submitted to the way.
Yeah.
Right? So when we fast and we allow toxins to leave our body, I think the research says it takes 13 hours for food to go from here to there and get out of the body. And if we don't fast beyond that, then we're just continuing to accrue more and more food. But along with that food, especially in America, comes toxins. So there's that additional payload of ick that we don't want. Now the body has to sweep that out of the bloodstream, into the lymphatic system, into the stored adipose tissue. Worst part is into the brain cells, because when the brain cells become toxic, now we got issues.
Yes.
Now we have issues between the brain and the thyroid. Now we have thyroid issues, and then it starts to become a domino effect, and it cascades into further and further problems. So when Jesus said, when you fast, he was saying there'll be a time when your body will start to give you symptoms to let you know The when is now. It's time to start detoxifying your body. But what is so good about God is when he gives us the gift of symptoms, he also is doing more than that. He's going to start to strengthen our spiritual life. And as you're finding and have found, and I do too, when I'm in a fasted state, when I read my Bible, it's like reading a children's pop-up book. You turn a page and something just jumps off the
Oh,
page at you.
so true.
And so now you're getting these epiphanies in your relationship with God. And all he was saying was, why don't you put down the bread and let the bread of life feed you?
Yeah.
And that's the most cherished thing that
Yeah.
I've experienced is my health is better. Yes, I'm leaner, and yes, I sleep better, and yes, I have minimal anxiety, and and I'm strong and all of those things in my health. But my vibrant relationship with God from a fasting, not overfed lifestyle, not eating all the time, but I used to eat 14 hours out of the day and only fast 10. And the Lord showed me in a revelation that that needed to be inverted. So I
So,
was,
so your 10 would be when you were sleeping, probably.
yes. And while every time I'm awake, I'm always eating. But now I've come up with a 7-17 protocol.
Okay.
The majority of my day would be the fasting, the intermittent fasting. So going past 13 hours when the food travels from here and exits, you want an additional 4 hours. That's when you're getting house cleaning. That's when the autophage cell, the Miss Pac-Man that comes in and gobbles up, it's like street sanitation, where your body starts cleaning house for free.
Yeah.
And if you dry fast, have you heard of this? Like the Jews fast on Yom Kippur, you get 3 maids for the price of 1 when you remove water. A little bit more advanced, and you have to be healthy, but you get triple the healing effect, the housekeeping when you dry fast.
Wow. So for the audience and people, me and you understand, like I understand everything you're saying because I've been in this for several
Yeah,
years now and a lot of study.
yeah. Help me,
So
help me
yeah,
bring it on.
no,
Yeah,
that's perfect. I
yeah.
love it. You brought it to a place, and when you say house cleaning, the actual
The
process,
temple, the
yep,
body.
the process of what's happening is you have broken cells, correct?
Yeah,
We have things that need to be repaired, body parts, muscle. How about your brain that needs to get oxidation off it? All the things that your cells are designed to go and heal itself because the original design, I believe, was God said, your body was designed to heal itself, but
yeah.
we have somehow interrupted the process
Mhm.
through glucose, through not knowing what
Yes.
to do, issues. Can you kind of talk
So,
about that?
what's really cool about immunosenescent cells, the root word of senescent meaning senile, so weakened immune and senile old cells in your body doesn't heal them. It gobbles them up and cannibalizes and get rid of them. And your body will then produce, this is the goodness of God, He'll create stem cells and give you brand new ones. He'll upgrade you. So the autophage is the Miss Pac-Man that will literally eat up the weak cells, not the good ones. In fact, you'll lose a little muscle on your fast, but mostly bad cells your body goes after. But after you break fast and you go into your feasting mode, your body replaces all your muscle tissue. It's amazing how good God is. He goes after the bad, weak immunosenescent cells, kills off the old dead cells. It's almost like a loofah on your
Yeah.
skin, sloughing off the dead epidermis. The body's doing that on the inside when we partner in obedience with God and push back a plate and say, give me your word, I'd rather have you. And you take water. If you're on a water fast or if you're doing a dry fast, you take nothing but air.
Yeah.
I'm just breathing air for
Sure.
now. But whatever you do that gently and prayerfully because it's not one size fit all. And a lot of people aren't even healthy enough to start with a fast. Best bet to start sometimes is just to go to keto and not fast at all and switch out your carbs and your sugar to healthy fats and change your fuel first because a lot of people will not do well if they jump right into fasting. That some people are so sick it could be problematic.
Yeah,
It's a
definitely.
stressor,
Yes.
right?
In some of these episodes, I feel
Yeah.
like it would be a great advantage if you could let's revisit that the steps to make it easy for them so
Yeah.
they don't try and bench press 100 pounds
Yeah.
when they're only supposed to be bench pressing whatever the Lord's given them for
Yeah.
that particular moment. But what are the consequences you feel like for those, like for me, hindsight's 2020? What are the consequences for someone that stays in a fed state? In other words, what does that look like for me? It would be I woke up, I had breakfast, then I had a snack in between, then I threw some unhealthy food in there, snack food, comfort food,
Yeah.
preservatives, highly processed foods, and then throughout the day, then I would eat one thing that would make me hunger for more. Like we talked about that ghrelin,
Mhm.
waking up the ghrelin. But what are the consequences, and what is that when they come to you? What does it look like, and what are the different things that you see? They say, I need help from.
Well, the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy,
Absolutely.
right? So he wants to take your life. Okay, so he wants to cut your life short and steal your quality of life while you're here.
Yes.
Anything he can do to decimate a person's health and then their family and ruin their dreams and the vision and everything God could have done through them. So what we got to look at is the beauty of trusting God with that. If you Google what happens to a bodybuilder, we think is a healthy guy, right? But consider steroids and all the mills. And a lot of people, they are a lot of trainers, a lot of dietitians are structuring their healing protocol from a bodybuilder. Eat 5-6 meals a day. But what we're finding is, what's the mortality age of the average bodybuilder? I Googled it. You can look it up. About 49 to 51 years old.
Oh, wow.
Why? Chronic fed. Eat, 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 eat. And so the revelation from God is to not eat as often. It's not to eat less. It's to eat less often. So when you eat till you have complete satiety and you're full. And that's hard to imagine. Like, I need to eat small meals because my trainer or my dietitian, but with God, his ways are different. And so what we're finding is, if you're part of the statistics in the standard American diet, is we are spiking insulin 17 to 21 times a day. And so what symptoms do you experience? You die. First of all, you slow down, you have no energy, you have cloudy mind, you're obese, your joints hurt, you're miserable. And that can happen to people in the church who know Jesus. Because culturally, the way we fellowship is usually over the covered dish. And so in the name of Jesus, we're hurting each other. And that's a hard thing to break, because we want to build the church and we want to bring people together. But we can do that if we're fasting in our own time. And then when we get together, we can have a feast. But this needs to be taught so that people can live an abundant life. They can have their energy and their joy, and then they can have their covered dish without guilt and without setting themselves back.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
so I think I'll use me as an example, because you were already fit when I met you. But for me, I came in a lot, what you just described, high insulin levels, brain fog, knee joint pain, just miserable. I'll be honest with you. I'd wake up and I'd have to rely on coffee to get me through the day, just more toxins. And I didn't know any better because I was ignorant. We perish because of lack of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And then God is awakening him. But he kept saying to me as I grew into this, it's all about his original design, and we can't talk him out of it. He made our bodies somehow to be able to take a certain kind of food. He made our body so that it can actually survive without eating longer than we think. But we've told that we constantly have to eat to be healthy. When you're sick, they say eat, eat.
Right.
Reality of it is, if you stop eating, your body actually
Will heal.
I love what you said. The street sweepers come out and start cleaning up the streets.
Yeah.
Get those bad cells, start getting to, and then that part of me started really waking up into his original design. And so I had plantar fasciitis in my foot. I had knee problems. I had IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. It would be terrible if I would eat the wrong foods. My body was breaking down. I had leaky gut. I had brain fog. I would just search for the right word to say to somebody. I'd have to pause until I could grab it out of somewhere. And then when I started changing the way I ate, and then begin to start understanding what intermittent fasting can do, combining the two. Like you said, I love it. You can just start with keto without going into intermittent fasting. I love that, because you don't set anybody up for defeat. They can taste what goodness tastes like.
Yes.
But there's even more.
Yes.
There's more. And so what would happen is I would do what the Lord would show me. I'd watch a video. He would pop up here, there, meet someone like you. And then all of a sudden I'm like, man, I'm starting to feel amazing. Then when I want to say to myself, tomorrow I'm going to work out, I couldn't back then, because my mind said I would, but my flesh in the morning said you won't. But when I started getting into unity and started listening to the Lord, he worked with my mind first. And then all of a sudden the next day I get up, my flesh goes, yeah, I'm ready. I get in the gym, get my cardio up, get my heart rate going, starting to feel this amazing new life coming through me. And so for you, like I said, when I met you, you seemed really you were a lot healthier than I was. But then all of a sudden, I find out about even the shoes I'm wearing today. They're called Zero shoes. They're flat. They don't have any arch.
Hmm.
And it was made so that my body would go back to its original design. There were no shoes. You would walk flat footed. And we designed it so that we bring comfort. And then that's probably one of the bigger problems the Lord said to me. So my comfort zones, right?
Wow.
So now my foot had to go flat, but now I have ketones. I have things that can heal those broken cells and muscles and repair them so that it wouldn't hurt or ache. And that was one of the first things that left was my plantar fasciitis. Then
Wow.
brain fog started to leave. Elbow joints, knee joints started to fade out. I even stopped having dandruff. And then all of a sudden, my cells are regenerating because my body wasn't having to constantly have to repair itself or not have the chance to repair itself because it was always having to dump the food and spend all of its energy on digestion.
Energy deviation.
You go ahead and share that.
So, yeah, if there's always a bolus of food in my stomach, then my body has to send a certain percentage of my blood flow to deal with that, which takes energy, which takes away from my ability to be relational. So, the interesting thing, and this is the ironic thing, is if I want to be relational, like really, really, really be an active listener, but I'm also eating, I'm conflicted because I want to be there for you, bro, but I'm doing me. And so what the Lord showed me was, why don't you just prefer your neighbor above yourself? Because once I eat, at the end of the day, I start to power down. Then it's me time. And so I'm learning to minimize my feasting window where I can rest. But when it's time to be sharp and be relational with other people, if I have a black coffee or some coffee with maybe some coconut oil in it, a little cinnamon, and I have me a little something and maybe a little bit of protein, maybe nothing. But I am better for other people when I'm not thinking about me. And God has given me that freedom to just trust Him in that. And I like that.
Wow.
I,
Well said.
thank you.
Because you don't hear, a lot of times it's always about what must I do? Eat this, don't eat this, fast. What you actually brought to life was that it goes well more. Your whole wealth is even designed through relationship. So if you're never present, how can you help the person in front of you? You're thinking about the future or the past,
Yeah.
but can't be present.
I have teachers, right? And they are like, a lot of my patients are teachers, and they struggle so much because they love teaching kids. But when the kids go to the lunchroom and have the standard American diet and all the junk, and the kids come back to the classroom, they're done. The kids are like either tired or there's behavior problems, but there's something about the eating and the food that we're eating that's creating such a disjointed ability to move the academic, the leverage, the learning needle forward. And now you've got behavior problems. And so I'm just looking at this and it's just insane to me. We've got to do better. We really do.
So imagine that teacher.
Right.
She's having to
Yes.
now come back, reorganize the class somehow. But now all the kids are either sleepy or they're hyperactive.
Yes.
But then they didn't even realize they just ate. So now they don't have any headspace. So everything is working in the wrong direction.
Yes. Except the teachers that I'm coaching are learning and they're realizing and they're shifting. And now they're intermittent fasting and they're breaking their fast with carnivore and they're feeling better. And we're praying and we're asking God to come in and give them the strength to love like He loves. And God's doing a new thing. But it starts with our leaders. But we can't have the blind leading the blind, or everybody's falling in a ditch. So we got to start with ourselves and our leaders and equip the church so people understand we can do better if we allow God to help us. There's self-care is important.
That is so
It's
good.
very important.
So as they're coming to you, and we can even use the teacher analysis, they've come, they really need help. And I can see how hard it would be to stay focused in that lifestyle when you're having this. Some classrooms are 16 kids deep, no helper, so some of our private school teachers that need help, that don't get the help. There's all kinds of reasons. I've got my daughter-in-law, she's a teacher, and she keeps me abreast of all the things that are going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
And my other son now has a fiance, and she also teaches kids right now,
Wow.
theater and
That's
stuff.
awesome.
And so they're always talking about that. And yes, it can be extremely stressful, but to have their body designed and ready to handle it, taking a coach to help them see the truth. And it's really, really not all the million things that you have to do. You can just cut out, I tell people all the time, it's just cutting out three or four things focus on what you don't need, and you'll watch everything else come into fruition.
Yes.
And because everybody wants to know, what must I do? Give me every step that's needed. So can you help us a little bit with the fact, and we'll close out this particular video set, on what's the easiest way to get them so they don't get overwhelmed into the intermittent fasting lifestyle, now with the understanding that we need to fast so that cells in our body will actually repair itself without getting in its way. They'll go and do the job it's supposed to do without having another food dump, having to focus on that. So maybe you can help somebody today say, I want to start this. A lot of people don't know what it means to have an eating window. They don't understand what it means to, what is this intermittent fasting thing? Most of the church that's been trained, when you hear the word fast, they freeze up because they think it's got to be for 3 days and they can't eat for 3 days. And if they don't, God won't be happy with them, or they try to fast to guilt God into doing something.
Yeah.
Instead of just living this lifestyle of intermittent fasting, which really was never meant to be a diet.
No.
It was supposed to be our original design.
So the easiest thing is to imagine, to believe again, to hope against hope.
It's good.
So when I was little, I wanted muscles. I have muscles. You think about the Israelites and all the people of the world building the Tower of Babel. We're made in God's image with his intrinsic stamp on us. We have the power of fruition. We can create. And if you want health, you have to want it. The easiest thing to do is to start back with your visioneering and imagine yourself healthy and see that. And if that's what you want, you can have that. Admit that you want it, pray about it, ask God for the strength, and then the what follows. The what doesn't matter once your why and your identity in Christ. We're the church, right? We're speaking to church people right now. If you have Christ in you, you're not alone. You have a helper. You have the Holy Spirit.
Come on.
And if you don't know Jesus yet, you can have salvation by asking, I want you. I have tried to do my life without you, and it's not working. I'm falling on my face. So this is for everybody, whether you know Jesus yet or not, or if you know him, but you would like to know him more in this realm. You can test him in this, just like you would test him with tithing. This is another area of opportunity to trust.
Well said.
To trust me in this, because I care for you. 3 John 1:2 says, my brothers, right? Says, I care. I wish that all would go well with you, that you would be in good health even as your soul prospers. So God cares about your body and your soul. So why not trust him? Why not visualize what you want and go to him and tell him and ask for the grace and the strength to do it? And then get a coach that knows all the how-tos. But it starts with a desire and a vision and a belief. And if you don't have that yet, get around somebody that help you can believe again. That's why pastors and teachers and apostles and prophets are important, because we help each other with our believing. According to your measure of faith, let it be done unto you. And in my case, I wear a pastoral hat, a nutrition coach hat, a doctor of chiropractic hat, and a personal trainer hat. So I try to put this all together for people in a one-stop shop. Let's believe. Let's huddle up. Let's have a community of people working out together, helping each other, encouraging other. Hey, let's fast for 2 days. Anybody? What can we pray for? What can we fast for? And ask God to meet you. Like when we start doing community stuff like that, now you're not just doing it alone. You're thinking about your brother or your sister. We're praying for his healing right now. So we're fasting together. I mean, there's all kind of ways to have fun with it and get outside of your selfishness and start to think about your brothers and sisters and do it together to become tribal and community, the body of believers.
So if I framed in what you just said, tell me if I got this right. For you to help somebody, the first thing would be stay teachable.
What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
And no, but why is it then many of us will allow ourselves to go to a place of being miserable? Is it possible that some people, or even myself, the greatest agent to change is the need to change?
Pain.
So therefore, isn't that, so then all of a sudden you hit the bottom and I've got to change.
This sucks.
But what if you actually had what you just said? What if you actually had ears to hear?
Yeah.
So that you can hear, even this video today, you know what? I don't feel that terrible, but I don't ever want to get myself to a place where I have to change. Let's go ahead and start transforming now. based on the truth that's being shared.
Yeah.
So for one, step
To be
one,
teachable
to
is
be very,
right.
yes,
Why do I have to
a
learn
life
the
of
hard
being,
way?
yes,
You ever hear the quote, you will get at a bargain price that which cost your mentor a premium if you're teachable,
that's good.
right? Why do we
Yeah,
have to learn the hard way when we could just be teachable and receive from one another,
yeah,
right? Be
exactly.
coachable. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And then the part that the next step would be, okay, so let's talk about the utility or the methodology of fasting in and itself. So if I said fasting window, um, for me it would be, say I go to bed at around 8:30 and I'm in sleep probably by 9. I can't, not everyone can do that. You may be a single mom,
Right.
you may have children. So this is not like, I'm not saying this is the law, but for me, as my lifestyle, I can do this. So I can wake up early in the morning, 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and find a lot to do in my personal time between most people getting up. But that's the benefit of this
Yeah.
fasting. And the reason why is if I say I'm not going to eat till 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, my 16 hours between bedtime. So if I go to bed at 9 and I wake up the next morning and I don't eat up until 1 or 2, I'm well into my 16th hour. And it's after the 13th hour, as you were saying.
That you get into autophagy or
Exactly.
sanitation, cleaning, house
Cleaning.
cleaning, maid
Yes.
service, free.
Yes.
No medicine required.
No
No
medicine.
copay, no deductible, no high tariff, right? No
Great.
Pfizer,
Right.
right?
Your body is doing what God
Right.
designed.
Yeah.
It's starting to heal itself because you're not in the fed state, and it's
Yeah.
giving time for the repairs.
And I like what you said about rest,
Yeah.
because a lot of people that are inflamed aren't even sleeping.
Right.
So the fact that there's restlessness, insomnia, anxiety by day, I've been there, inverted. Had to have the silver fillings removed from my teeth, super toxin, mercury fillings. Didn't know till I knew. But that, a lot of people don't realize it. If you have silver, metal in your mouth, that's a super toxin. That is a poison. Maybe the medical community doesn't want you to know it because it's a lawsuit, but it is. Some medical people will say, oh, silver, mercury's not poison when it's in your mouth. It's only poison when it's out there. So the laws of physics cease to exist when it's in my mouth. Right.
Yeah.
No, it's poison. So there's mold, black mold, there's mercury fillings, there's glyphosate, which is, pesticides on vegetables. We have to become educated
Yeah.
and know what poison. It's like I don't go up to a snake and touch it because I don't know if it's right. Does it have venom? I'm not messing with that.
Yeah.
We've got to learn what's out of bounds and how to stay away from that.
Oh, that's good. I
You
think
know?
maybe today, if we have the time, we can hit in maybe 3 parts. Can we make sure you remember?
Yeah.
I think for everybody's going to want to know, well, enlighten me on some of these things that we've been ignorant to.
Yeah.
Marketing companies want to make money, so
Yeah.
they don't care about you as much as they do the bottom line. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And they're going to use us to get their bottom profits, all the way from pharmaceuticals, so on and so on. But wrapping this episode up, I guess, with the intermittent fasting in the fed state is what we were discussing. I feel like as though if it was as simple as, if I was going to tell someone to start, I would say, don't try and eat the whole elephant in one bite, right? I would say, maybe you can't get to 16 hours yet. Maybe you just don't eat till you're so used to breakfast and you want to try intermittent fasting. What would you tell them?
I wrote a little video and I had it produced. It's called Burger Pizza Rapid Fat Loss Protocol. It's a 30-day program. It's simple. I'll tell it to you right now. It's this simple. You eat between noon and 7 every day for 30 days. 1 month. It's a 1 month. Test this out. Burger is 3 different days, but it's a burger with no bun. It's a carnivore burger. It might be a double burger, carnivore. I eat from noon to 7. That's 7 hours of feasting. Can have as much protein as you want. And on day 4, pizza, you start with a burger at noon, or meat, or protein, or eggs, or whatever you like. Could be scallops and salmon. It could be crab legs. You have a pizza party at the final meal. So it's carnivore. Day 4, half carnivore and some carbohydrates to load up and get some glycogen for your thyroid. But you're going to run through 7 cycles of that in a month's time. Every 4 days times 7, 28 days. But you will lose probably 20 to 25 pounds in so doing. The fasting will be from 7 p.m. until noon the next day, which is 17 hours without food, as much water as you want. It's a water fast. Drink water, yes, 0 food. But the next day, as much protein as you want from noon to 7. Every day, noon to 7. But every fourth day, you get carbohydrates. The average American is spiking insulin and eating carbs average 19 times a day. In a 4-day cycle, do you know how many hours that is? 96. Look in the Bible and see the number 96. There's like 96 pomegranates. There's bells on the bottom of the rabbi's tunic. Check it out. When I was studying this and writing this, the Lord gave this to me. He was showing me numbers, and I was just like flipping out. But I just share this with people. It's 17 and 7. 17 hours of water fasting, 7 hours of carnivore. In a 4-day cycle, day 4, hang in there, you get your carb meal. But while people are spiking insulin 19 times a day, you're only spiking insulin 1 time in every 4-day cycle. Do you think your insulin receptor sites and your A1C and your glucose numbers will go down if you trust God with that? That's where people heal. It would be like if every day you insult your wife 19 times a day, and she's about almost out of there, but then you repent and you scale it back to only 1 insult every 4 days. Do you think maybe the marriage could heal? It's the same thing with your insulin receptor sites. You've got to stop what you're doing, or you're going to continue to insult that system, and then your body's going to continue to give you ill health symptomatology feedback until real autoimmune disease kicks in.
That's so good. So what I would think then, if they actually take your advice and try this, then that's that taste and see.
Taste and see that
Because
the Lord
then
is
after,
good.
yeah, because then
Yes.
after 30 days of doing this, you're probably not even going to want any more pizza or carb. You're going to be like, you're going to want to go for the most efficient fuel possible in
You'll
your
do this.
body.
I'll do this for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
I had no idea how I'd lost 25 pounds. I feel better. My energy's better. I sleep better. My romance is better. My attitude's like, I
Everything.
just, you people don't know what they don't know until you
Right.
try it. You're right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then that's the hook because they tasted it. They said, there's no way I can get, and they know the consequences of going backwards. So let's just keep moving forward. And I think that's what's happened to me through this process. So for this particular episode, I want to thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to come back in a minute, take a break, and let's start on. And I think it would be great if we could start off the next episode, whether we do it or not this way, it's fine. But I love to hear the advantages, continue with the advantages of this lifestyle. And then also, I think it's important because a lot of people don't realize the consequences if they don't do it. So
All right.
we'll see.
That sounds great.